be here in front of all of you today talking about such an important topic, because I think what's clear to all of us, even if you don't work in this space, is that cities around the world are currently, or will in the future, be undergoing massive digital transformation. So it's an important topic to discuss what impact this technology is going to have. And in the panel, we're going to seek to explore a few questions, namely what this revolution is going to look like, how we can apply this technology, but also what its impact will be on our people and our planet, because of course, that is the most fundamental thing to the world in which we live. And finally, we've got to talk about the challenges as well. What are some of the challenges relating to the application of digital technology, and how can we plan and mitigate the potential impacts of that? And we've got a fantastic panel of experts to help us navigate through some of those topics. So we have Ramy Elias, who is the Regional Sales Manager for Sustainable Solutions at Rolls-Royce. We have Amir Ajrab, who is the Account Manager for Smart Cities and Spaces at NVIDIA. And finally, we have Pradeep Luthria, who is a Senior Partner and Chief Practitioner at Sabre Innovation Technologies and a Senior Consultant for Dubai Technologies. But I think it's a useful exercise first to ask each of them to say a little bit more about their experience in less than 60 seconds, but also what it is about smart cities that makes them interested and why they got into that space in the first place. So perhaps we could start with you, Pradeep.
So actually, we as a evolving human race have always used automation and progressive techniques to improve our life. We're probably living in the best conditions that man has ever lived in today, if you look at centuries that have passed. So of course, we have to understand that we can't gain something without losing something as well. So definitely excited. We're all excited that the technology today, your fridge can tell the supermarket that the milk is running out, or you can manage the energy efficiency of your home with a click of a touch, because there's sensors that can detect temperature change and things like that. But at the same time, you have to realize that we are creatures of the world. Nature and the environment have to be in harmony with whatever we do. And so, it's a balance that we have to keep, for sure. So.
Okay, thank you for that introduction, Pradeep. And perhaps, Ramy, you'd like to give a little bit of background about yourself as well.
So, just a bit of brief about my background. So, I consider myself an automation and renewable energy engineer. So I have more than 10 years of experience in the renewable energy sector and in the automation sector as well. I have been working with multinational since that time. So I worked with companies like ABB, Larsen & Toubro, and Rolls-Royce. So that's a bit of my background in a very brief way.
Okay, thank you for that. And perhaps last, Amir, you could tell us a bit about your background, but also what it is that motivates you to be interested in this particular space.
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me all right? So, morning. Thanks, Rory, ladies and gentlemen. My background is in engineering, actually, and I'm a graduate of the American University of Sharjah, so I'm really pleased to be here. And for me, and again at NVIDIA, we were seeing the trend of where things are going. Urbanization is growing massively. The region here is at 85% average and growing by year. Smart cities is, for me, the biggest market in the region. It's growing 25% annually worldwide. It just makes sense to jump in, and it's a personal interest that I have, so that's my driver for it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent rationale, and of course, the United Nations has said by 2050, 70% of the world's population is going to be living in cities, so it's really important those cities are innovative. And then I suppose that leads us on nicely, Amir, to my first question, which is before we dive into the detail about smart cities and the implications of all these technologies, maybe it's best to just first pose a macro question and ask, what are some of the applications of digital technology in smart cities? If you could just walk us through some of the things that we might be able to see now and in the future in smart cities in terms of digital tech.
Sure. So, I mean, when you look at smart spaces and smart cities, the focus is really heavy on computer vision, AI and all. And if I were to break it down, IoT is turning our world into data, into really rich data. And this data, as of now, we're only, collecting it through sensors, different sensors, whether it's CCTV, traffic control systems, air temperature quality, measurements and sensors, and even, of course, now human sensors, right, with social media and whatever's popping up. And as of now, we're only being reactive. We're collecting this data, and we're acting based on it after processing it. What the trend is and what it should be is that we become more predictive, more preventative, more proactive, and then act before things actually happen. This is what we call a cognitive system. Ideally, this is what we want to move towards, a cognitive city or cognitive nation. And how we do that is with IoT as a foundation. However, having said that, that really only gets us so far. The key that I believe that can take things to the next level, to a cognitive system, or again, a cognitive nation, is AI, machine learning, deep learning. We also have a huge focus on digital twins, synthetic data generation, large language models. And these are the huge, let's say, initiatives being led in the region that I believe will take things to the next level. And again, accelerated computing is the umbrella that all of this falls under. And this, I would say, if I were to sum up NVIDIA into 2 words, accelerated computing. That's primarily what we do. Yeah,
and so to follow up on that, the notion of a cognitive city, I'm interested to get your perspective on whether you think a smart city is a better city. I think McKinsey put out a study a few years ago saying that they believe that in smart cities there's a 10 to 30% increase in quality of life across various indexes. So based on your experience and the technologies you're talking about, do you think that manifests in a better quality of living for the people in those cities?
Absolutely. I mean, if you just think of the current generation, most of us are digitally native, and with every new generation, it's going to become more digitally native. So our consumers, our citizens are digital natives. We cannot neglect that fact. There's been many trends throughout decades with industrialization, urbanization, and now we have digitization. Organizations, cities, nations, countries, governments, they need to look at this trend. They need to, assume and take over the fact that the citizens and consumers are ready for that, and it's nature. So, having said that, if you look at other companies, organizations that haven't done that, they're in the past already because they haven't, let's say, adopted this change and adopted all the different, changes that are coming, again, as I mentioned, in different trends. My belief is it's a net positive impact on the market. I don't see, AI or advancement in technology and digitalization taking away jobs, for example. Upskilling, research, innovation, these are critical to take us to the next, stage. And then, of course, efficiency, sustainability, that's something very key for us. How do we do that? And the key, I would say, is a full stack approach. It's in terms of digital terms. You're looking at software, hardware optimization that makes things more sustainable and, again, more green. That's my belief.
Okay, thank you for that, Amir. And the fact that you said smart cities have a net positive impact is probably indicative of the fact there are some challenges. So Pradeep, I wanted to turn to you because you are a senior partner at Sabre Innovation Technologies looking at making IT safer. So given the vast amounts of data that we're collecting in smart cities, we heard about the monitoring, the sensors, what are some of the steps that we can take to ensure that data doesn't fall into the wrong hands to guard against data breaches? Maybe you could talk us through that.
So actually, if you look at the security scenario, it changes depending on the kind of project that it is. If you're doing a retrofit, an existing older city that has pockets of new technology being implemented, it introduces a lot of security challenges because you have to bring along with you some of the older technology and create a working environment in harmony in a kind of hybrid environment. So the security challenges there are quite different. Definitely, there's no real difference between how we would protect the data that is generated from a smart city or from, we have, my speciality is in smart ports actually, and smart ports are smart airports. They're similar to cities. They have the complete ecosystem that cities have. So the key, where is the risk? The risk is on the individual in terms of his privacy. The risk is in terms of the state, in terms of security. So the protocols that we follow in managing the data, the large amounts of data, they have to follow the need of the hour when it comes to those perspectives. So it's not really one size fits all, but it is no different in philosophy than how we secure our financial systems or our manufacturing systems, things like that.
Yeah, and I suppose one of the other challenges we face in terms of the challenges that come with smart cities is it's not just about data protection, but also if smart cities are so reliant on digital technology, then that also makes them vulnerable, right? I mean, if you look at what happened in Atlanta in 2018, they were crippled by a ransomware attack that essentially took down 30% of their mission-critical systems. And this is only going to become a bigger issue as cities become more digitalized and smarter. So as a follow-up, how can we guard against these challenges and make sure that our cities are resilient and aren't crippled by cyber attacks?
So actually, we have, unfortunately, a situation where we are adopting a lot of technology and we're learning the hard way about what we should have done to prevent something from happening. And we still have businesses and practices that do not take cybersecurity, cyber resilience seriously sufficiently. I mean, today we can commandeer a company, we can take over all its computers, we can hold them to ransom. You could do that to an aircraft, you could do that to a ship. And so definitely, these are the first thing that comes is the awareness that we have to have, that we need to have extra measures in place to ensure all the negative actors that can benefit from harming us are not able to act. But it's a tall order. The dark side has more money, has more resources than the good guys, and it's absolutely a challenge. So we need budgets, we need recognition, we need the support of people to stay aware. There's still a lot of people who say, oh, I don't know anything about IT, and they feel proud of that. But today we are living in such a connected world. It's convenient for them. They can do whatever they need to for their comfort, but they won't go that one extra step to be more aware to stay cyber safe. So there's so much collective responsibility we need to carry, and we need to, this is the new era. It's like we're under attack, but you can't see the enemy.
Yeah, I think that's a sobering reality check, but also a very important point to mention, the notion of collective responsibility and everyone having to accept this is the future, but therefore we need to plan against and make sure we're resilient to any of the challenges that spring up. And now moving on to more of a sustainability outlook, it's good to bring in Ramy because you work on sustainable solutions for Rolls-Royce. So could you give us again sort of a macro overview of how we can use digital technologies to make smart cities more sustainable?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Rory, for your question. And I believe that we dive into technicality. But I would like to thank first Mr. Adnan for making this event happening. Thank you so much. And thank you, Anna, for the invite and Maya for the organization. So it's like thank you guys for making this happen. So actually, in terms of like digitalization for smart cities in the energy sector, so I will try to divide it in two parts. So mainly the consumer side, because the consumer now, like they have the liability of producing their own electricity, and the, let's say, the generation side. So on those two levels, we have several type of like making like consumer like consuming energy more efficiently, and this is we do it by home automation, and we have a several layer of automation from like level 0 to level like 3, and that definitely we take it from sensor actuator, and then on the control side, and then reaching to the like a full SCADA system, and this is on the consumer side. So every consumer now can see his own consumption, and he can he can check the efficiency of all the appliances that he have at his home. And this is, we can take it as a residential example, and then we can move it to the commercial side. So the building management system, so it's like the BMS for the large commercial building, and the similar for industrial buildings. So everyone is now trying to put, you can see like a rooftop panel, like a you have like a solar panel on your rooftop, and at the same time you are consuming your energy, and sometimes you are exporting energy to the grid. And this is the concept of moving from a normal grid to a bit of the concept of a smart grid. And I will try to brief it about how we can make this happen. So this is on the consumer level. On the generation level, we have the concept of the distributed energy resources. So it's like we are not going to see like more of like an utility grid operator and then like a consumer and that's it. No, it's not gonna be the case. We're gonna have like renewable energy plants, hydrogen plants, and then you're gonna have wind plants as well, and maybe you're gonna have hydro, and you have conventional energy, and then you're combining all those energy together. And actually the most important point is how to make the energy management of all those generating sources and how to optimize as maximum as possible the generation to be adequate to the consumption at the same point of time. So, and then we use the very, this is the very trendy technologies like the energy storage. So we start to store energy for the time that we don't need it, and we start to use it at the time we need it the most. So this is, we call it the energy shifting, and we do like peak shaving. And this is done by all like the microgrid controller, and this is what we offer at Rolls-Royce. We offer a complete solution, and this is like the brain of the brain of a microgrid concept and the brain of a smart city at the end of the day. So you have it on several layers, and then you have a complete plant manager that is optimizing operation between generation and consumer as well. So this is how we tackle the whole stuff. And coming to the AI part, because this is start to be implemented. So the machine learning and the AI started, so this is like the sector coupling. So we are mixing, you know, like all the sector to get together. So the AI, like just to try to predict what is the energy consumption gonna be on a residential scale, on a commercial scale, industrial scale, and how to optimize the most and how to make the best use of every generating component in a smart city.
That's really interesting that you talk about optimization, and I think one of the misnomers about smart cities is that they are, you know, inherently more sustainable and better, but actually, of course, with the Internet of Things and with all these devices being constantly connected, then it's actually going to lead to a large amount of electricity consumption, right? So what are the challenges that we face when dealing with these high energy needs in smart cities?
Yeah, so yeah, this is the main challenge of a smart city, that we are not still we are not aware of the amount of exponential rise of the electricity need that's gonna happen. So from now to like 2030 is like 8 years from now. This is not far. We are expecting to have triple the electricity needs that we have at the moment. And that's why utility operator and the government, they cannot reply this demand. That's why we are seeing private IPPs, we are seeing like consumer at the side of the consumer as well, they are trying to do generations themselves. So the challenges here, like the computing power is really increasing, so that's consuming energy. You have the metaverse, you have blockchain, you have Bitcoin mining. This is all intensive energy consuming technology. You have like the data center. The data center now are started to be like a huge energy consuming part in our life. And that was not there 10 years back. Like 10 years back, there was no such thing like those kind of data centers, and the amount of high power computing that we have, and the amount of, let's say, the availability of electronic device to a human being now, it's more than ever before.
And just one final question. As you were saying that, I was thinking about it. I guess one of the potential solutions is moving towards a more digitalized or more dynamic energy pricing model. Could you just walk us through what that would look like and why that's a good solution?
Yeah, so for even the electricity, like the bills and the structure of billing electricity is going to be very different. Like we're going to have a dynamic electricity pricing. So exactly what I have mentioned, like you have several different resources from generation part, and at the end of the day, there is a different pricing for each one of them. And this is how we do like energy shifting between a source to another, and like it's different tariff based. And we have like new software like that they are using energy arbitrage to do it in a proper way, and they are using AI technology as well to like optimize the energy prices as maximum as possible, and to use the cheapest energy cost at a certain point of time. And this is like energy arbitrage with AI technology as well.
Thank you for walking us through that, and I think it showcases the fact that despite the high energy consumption, smart cities can still be a positive contribution to the planet. And I just now wanted to go back to Amir to pick up on something you mentioned earlier. You highlighted the fact that in light of the various changes and innovations, people will need to reskill, they will need to upskill. So I just wanted to put it to you, what does this increasing digitization mean for the job market, and how can we as young people or as employers be prepared for that, to navigate through that? Could you just talk us through some of those challenges?
Sure. Just before that, actually, I want to comment on something Rami said. So when it comes to the data center, that's, again, super key for us. And energy efficiency, again, with the increasing demand in terms of compute and the electricity coming from it is very key. What we believe and what we predict at NVIDIA is that you can save around 19 terawatt hours per year in terms of electricity consumption if, and mainly if your AI, high performance computing, machine learning, deep learning, networking workloads are running specifically on optimized software, GPUs, DPUs, and this is at the core of what we do. And I completely agree. If we do not, with governments, organizations, and again the nations, move towards that, with the increase in demand in terms of consumption and compute, it's going to be a mess. And now, just to jump onto the workforce, or to the job market. I mean, again, AI, digitalization is not here to replace people. We believe in that. It's only, again, to improve and make us become better. And again, as I mentioned before, with industrialization, urbanizations, these so many different trends that we've passed in the past, again, throughout the decades, we're still where we are. And again, as I mentioned, it's a net balance impact. So with upskilling, and this is key, especially in the region, when it comes to high-performance computing or accelerated computing, AI, we're seeing so many universities pop up that are focused specifically on AI. So it's really essential for the region and the market here to upskill the talent, cover that gap, which is, honestly, it is there. And, but, changes are happening. And then, again, what you will see is a smart nation or a cognitive nation starts to develop and become in place. So upskilled talent, innovation, R&D, these are some of the elements of a smart or cognitive nation. And I believe that's where we need to go.
Thank you for that message, and I think I like the way you frame it, not as all these jobs are being lost and it's a crisis, but actually the talent is there. It's just about making sure we unlock that and rediscover that potential.
I'd like to just add something, and actually, when you adopt technology and you do automation and you bring systems in, traditionally in the Western world where the labor is costlier, they would traditionally go for it. And in the places where labor is cheaper, they would try to stay with the manual processes. But knowing that you can get better yield, better throughput from your facility, if you add automation, has made businesses try to evolve and try to be more equitable when they apply, technologies. So yes, definitely there is an impact to some degree on the job market. But as he said, people have to be participative and retrain themselves. So that's...
Yeah, I think that's an important point. It's also about the responsiveness and the adaptability. And that's actually a point that I wanted to raise now, because given we are in the United Arab Emirates, which is famed for its world-class public services, I wanted to ask you, Pradeep, about what public services look like in a smart city, because many people claim that they're more responsive and more efficient. So what do you think the impacts on public services are going to be as smart cities grow and develop?
So actually the UAE is, if you notice that they've got an adoption of, for example, in one particular area of the district cooling, technology. And there are very, very significant savings in doing district cooling as a practice. And in fact, they're expanding their practices and going overseas also. So if you look at the benefits of a smart city in terms of some of the channels of use, of course, traffic management. Today, if you drive down our highway, the beautiful Sheikh Zayed Road, you can see, roughly how much time you're going to take to reach certain places. At the end of the day, whatever cuts down time and cuts down energy use is good for everybody, the government and the residents alike. So we have, you can see here, definitely the adoption of automation, like your Emirates ID card is being used for multiple purposes, convenience for the people at the end of the day. So this is common to many smart cities as we convert, smart countries actually.
Yeah, I think that's a really useful way of highlighting the potentials of smart cities and how they can lead to even better public services.
Yes.
And given that we're running out of time now, I thought it'd be good to ask each of you to perhaps share a final thought or a takeaway that you want to leave with the audience. If they take away anything from this session, or maybe it's an action they should take, what would that be? Maybe we could start with you, Amir. Is there any message or any action you think the audience should take following this discussion today?
Absolutely. I think, smart cities is again, one umbrella, but what we believe in at NVIDIA is, again, the next internet. This is the metaverse. We have, very specific focus on that with AI, high performance computing, and that's a yes or yes, it's happening. And I think how we can mix that technology with, moving smart nations or smart cities into cognitive nations, that merge with AI is going to happen. And I think that's something very key for nations to focus on. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's a really good message for people to take away. Ramy, what about yourself? Any thoughts? Any final takeaway?
Yeah. So, like, what I would like to emphasize the most on is like this sector coupling. So, no one gonna be in island mode anymore. So, we're gonna see a lot of cross-section collaboration. So, if I'm talking about hydrogen renewable, then you're gonna have the software, the automation, and then, for example, like EV, like for example, like the EV charging hubs, like the transportation sector. So it's gonna be all connected, and if like the need of like blockchain and or Bitcoin mining or metaverse, like the high need of like definitely you should put this in perspective and to understand that this is all connected together. And in Rolls-Royce, actually, we are connecting all the dots. So we are transforming our aviation. So aviation sector is now transforming to electrical aviation. We are studying to have a more sustainable aviation fuel. We are doing it in the marine business. We are moving to like hydrogen and more sustainable solution. So it's like it's all connected: transport, marine, aviation, smart cities. Like you have it all together. Like it's one game at the moment, not any more separated game.
I think that's a great point. As you say, innovation is all about interlinkages, and if we're going to move forward, then we need to work together. And I suppose this forum, this summit itself, is a demonstration of that, manifesting the fact that it's bringing together people from across societies, across industries, across countries, and hopefully some of the discussions that take place, whether on this panel or on the stage, or indeed outside, hopefully that leads to innovation. So again, thank you to Mr. Adnan for putting this wonderful event together. And finally, Pradeep, is there any message or any action you think the audience should take following our discussion?
Definitely. As I said earlier, that I don't believe all of us are taking cyber resilience safely, seriously, and we need to practice safe cyber usage. You need to be aware of what you're clicking, and at the end of the day, what you do can affect yourself and other people as well. So just requesting everybody to take a little more interest and be more resilient in terms of cybersecurity.
Thank you for that. I think that's a tangible takeaway for everyone to think about. So thank you to all our panelists for the discussion. I think we've seen that technology is advancing rapidly, and it has implications, whether positive or negative, for cities. And as Pradeep's told us, we should be prepared and be aware of that. But also, as Amir outlined, there are endless possibilities as we innovate and as we integrate that technology into smart cities. But of course, it's important that we are on our toes as a society, ready to reskill and ready to adapt to those changes. So thank you again to everyone for our discussion. And
thank you, Rory.
Of course, if you have any further questions for our panelists, I'm sure you can find them throughout the rest of the summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Rory. Thank you.